Never miss an opportunity to grow. Never lose the opportunity to humble yourself enough to grow. Oftentimes in life we think we're right because based on the knowledge we have at that time in our mind, we truly believe it to be so. Doesn't necessarily make it so. Our perception is our reality. But is our perception always correct? No. That's why God warns about judging people and says, leave that to Him. You know, one thing I've really learned over the years, because many of you know I've been doing a lot of traveling. I've stayed with a lot of people over the years. I've had a lot of trauma and some assistance along the way to get me through. And I've been staying with many, many people all the way from Florida back to California and states in between. I've had the opportunity over the past 4 years to learn, to travel, and be invited into people's homes that were kind enough to take me in. See, because for a while I was kind of not insane, but I wasn't fully operating in my full brain. And while I've been living with other people, it's given me an opportunity to really look inside different people's lifestyles. And I've stayed with an eclectic group of people, ranging from a family member worth millions in a beautiful home on an island to sleeping on a couch in a home with someone where they had like 10 people in a 2-bedroom. In other words, I'm trying to show you the variety. Everybody's lives are, of course, different. Everyone's home and friends and likes and dislikes are different. So going into these people's homes, of course, that means you have to adjust and adapt to their environment. Because if you're staying in somebody's home, you have to respect their rules, right? So I have found that living with a bunch of other people, although nice because it's good to have support, it takes you sometimes a little too far outside of yourself if you're not careful, because you start to live other people's lives. When you go into someone else's home, you partake in their daily lifestyles and activities. So it's really interesting to see the different families. I've stayed with people who were ministers. I've stayed with people who were gangsters. I've stayed with people who were everything. I'm just trying to give really a broad example, of the type of people, trying to show that people are eclectic. But here's something I learned or experienced. No matter what these people had or didn't have, they were all very kind, and although they were from different belief systems, different backgrounds, we didn't agree on everything. We did have mutual respect for one another, and I was thankful for them for taking me in. And I took it as a learning opportunity. So here I am still, and hopefully I'll be in a spot of my own soon so that I could have some independence. Because that's a problem. When you stay with other people, you're on their timeline and their time frame and what they want. So what you are doing and what is on your mind and in your life has to take a back seat. So you got to be careful of that and know the difference between support and upliftment and then usury. And that goes both ways, because if you're staying at someone's house, you want to be useful. At the same time, you're entitled to your own privacy. You see, people will often, when you come into their homes, expect you to do certain things that are in their belief system. And sometimes we'll acquiesce and say, okay, I'll do that. But maybe it's not necessarily something you wanted to do. Man, I lived in one place with a whole bunch of practitioners from another country. They did this really interesting ritual with some Florida water and some salt and an egg and a bunch of stuff and lime. I was like, damn, are we cooking? Spirit cooking, apparently. No, I'm kidding, not spirit cooking. There was nothing gross involved, nothing, because that wasn't even a good joke. I shouldn't have made that, because spirit cooking is nasty shit. Bodily fluids, harm, bad intent, none of that. See, these practitioners were trying to help me get the bad juju off my life. You see, since I was born into the crafts, there have been a lot of curses tried to be placed upon me and my family. You see, threats are nothing new to me. Since I was very small, I could remember my very first death threat. Not because I had done something wrong myself, but simply because of who my family were. But that doesn't affect me, because if you don't partake in the bullshit, you're not going to get caught up. Just because you grow up around stuff, or just because you're staying with people, just because you're in a certain environment, doesn't mean you have to partake. So it was interesting when I stayed at this one home. You know, their beliefs was a little different than mine, but at the time I humored them and stuff. But anyway, there were other times where I stayed in a very nice house for like a year. My daughter and I both had private rooms, and it was very nice. I had use of the cars and other stuff, and that was great. But again, that wasn't my personal lifestyle. So have I had the opportunity to live a poor life and a well-off life? Yes. But here's something that hasn't changed. Even through homelessness, because I've been there too, my soul never changed. See, even while going through these different people's homes and partaking in their daily rituals of life, that doesn't mean that I have to get caught up in it and stuck in their strife, so don't do that. Take the lessons that are given to you through people. Look at people as an opportunity to really see a reflection of your inner self, like the way they behave. Do they make you cringe inside where you're like, I can't, ugh? Or do they make you get chills on your arms where you just feel that electricity? Do you have those people where you know that you have known each other from the ethers? There's so many different realms. Just because we have different upbringings, just because we're under this earth dome, doesn't mean when we leave this earth that we no longer have a home. Because once you move on to the next level in life, we'll be done with this stupid struggle and strife, right? So why not make the best of it? Just like with school, if you don't want to do a repeat, if you don't want to be left behind while everyone moves ahead, how about you get your stuff together and pay attention instead? Be thankful for the people in your life. Use them as a reflection to become a better you by seeing things in people you like and dislike. But remember, our war is not against flesh and blood. So when you see somebody and you don't like their behavior, check yourself. Are you looking at their behaviors and not liking them because maybe you exhibit some of the same behaviors, but it's easier to project that onto somebody else than holding your own self accountable? Self-accountability is a hard thing, but it is a powerful thing. It's a powerful thing because once you are aware, you could change it. So, living with other people, holding on to my soul, building my own self up, and setting a goal. I never really have had a true opportunity to be settled down in a place where I have felt safe. I've always slept with shoes right by the door and right by my bed, just in case I have to wake up in the middle of the night because someone, whatever. I don't want to live like that. See, and that's from past trauma that I hold on to that because I was abused growing up. I sleep with shoes by my bed out of habit. See, so it's still part of a ritual and I need to break it. It's small, it's just shoes by the bed, but you know what? It was connected to a memory that should have been dead. So I got to stop doing that, right? Because if I'm still doing that, I'm low level still contributing to that memory and humoring it, and I can't do that. Just another moment of reflection, you guys. Maybe it's a message sent in disguise.